Good afternoon. If you'd like to have a seat, this is the time to do it, or stay right where you are. I want to thank you for joining us today. By the looks of all the people here, the friends, the family, the community, Lupe Uresti had a lot of people who loved him very much, and also people that he loved very much. So we're glad you're here and to celebrate a good life. You know, we were just talking earlier, and it's a shame that we have to have funerals. We weren't supposed to die. We were supposed to live in eternity in the Garden of Eden, but somehow it got messed up, so here we are. So today we remember and celebrate the life of Lupe Uresti, and there aren't really any rules for a funeral. I've done several, and so you can clap or laugh or cry or stomp around. I've seen it all, and it's all appropriate. So do as you see fit. But the thing is, we can't spend all of our time in the grief mode. We have to spend our time in the celebration mode. For those of you who believe, we wouldn't bring him back from heaven even if we could. So today we celebrate a great life. The Bible tells us there's a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance. So perhaps today we turn grief into joy and tears into smiles. So I've always believed that death ends a life, but death does not end a relationship. And those things that we appreciated about Mr. Uresti, we still appreciate. He was loyal, he was funny, he was exact, he was demanding. He cooked great brisket and fajitas. Now those may be gone. Maybe this is a sadder event than I realized. So the obituary is written, and I'm not going to read that to you today, but the obituary tells a lot about his life, where he began. And what I would like to do at this moment is have the children and anybody that wants to speak on his behalf. This is your moment. Lupe left behind 3 children that he adored. Omar, the youngest, Javier, Rusty, and their families and grandchildren. And by the way, today, the circle of life completed, and Javier became a grandfather. How awesome is that? Yeah, I think so. So the circle of life, and we are going to turn the stage over now to anybody, any of non-family that wants to say something on his behalf. If you would, please be bold, because forever is a long time, and you don't want to be 5 years from now going, man, I wish I had said this. So this is your moment. If you have something you'd like to share briefly about Mr. Uresti, please, this is your moment. And I'm going to step aside and be bold and come up and talk about him. If we don't have any takers, then we're going to go from the youngest to the oldest and let his children speak as well. So we're very excited that Omar, where are you? You're back in the back. Omar tested positive for excellence, so he didn't want any of that to rub off. So he's back in the back. So I'm going to step aside over here with the guitar guy. Stage is yours.
Anybody that wants to say something, say it.
Omar, if they don't jump up there, it's all you, buddy.
Okay, great. Doesn't look like anybody is. Just want to thank y'all for being here today. One of the things I remember most, around his kids, he was pretty serious and pretty well behaved. His friends say he was quite the wild guy on the side when he wasn't around his kids, so I'd like to think he was trying to set a good example for us. And one of the things I still take heed to today is he always said to me, I can't make you practice. You have to, and if you want to be good, you have to practice, so you have to do it on your own. And I still think about that every day and try to instill that in my kids as well. No matter what you do, you gotta put the time in to be good at whatever you do. we're gonna miss the good fajitas, like Cash said. But that's about all I have to say right now.
Good job, Omar. Javier.
That picture there, we took that in Spain. We got to travel this couple of years ago to go see Omar play in England. And Dad and I rented a car in England, and of course they drive all wrong. Stick shifts on the wrong side, the road's on the wrong side. So Dad decided we would rent a little car so we could fit in tight spots, and it was standard. And as we're driving out of the airport, I looked down at the GPS and I said, Dad, it's 45 minutes downtown to the London Bridge, and it's about 55 minutes if we turn right and we go out to Stonehenge. So we decided to go to Stonehenge, and as we're driving out to Stonehenge, we're doing great. We're on the highway, we're hugging the shoulder, and we're just going. And Dad had a little trouble shifting, so I said, Dad, you steer, you do the clutch, and I'll do the stick. And I'm also going to be navigating. So I'm navigating, looking at it, and saying, okay, Dad, we need to be in the left lane. We need to make a turn here. And so he would push the clutch in, I'd find second and grind it in there, and then we'd turn. And everything was going pretty good until we left Stonehenge and came to one of those awful things they call a roundabout. And it was, okay, Dad, as we come up here, we're gonna take the first left, and we gotta go, remember, you gotta hug the curb. And he goes, huh? And we missed the curve. We're running around in the circle. And so I go, okay, next opening to the left, turn. So we turn. And we do this for about, I don't know, an hour driving to where we were gonna stay. And every time we came to a roundabout, Dad, it's the second turn, to the left, huh? Oh my God. Dad had one ear that was a little bit better than the other, and unfortunately he was on the wrong side of the car for his good ear. So every time I gave him a direction, his first answer was, huh? So we missed a lot of turns, and we went in a lot of circles on that trip. But we did make it, and we had so much fun together. We were able to go and just enjoy Omar playing golf in a new country, and then we got to go to the home country. We went to Spain, and he was just so proud to be in Spain. He shopped for a red fedora, a little red hat, for hours, and we finally found him one, and he kept it close by. He always wanted to have that close by. We had some good food over there and some good memories. And just wanted to share that with y'all, that he loved to travel. I know Anthony had a great travel experience with him as well. And I'm gonna let Anthony talk next, okay, bro?
I don't know if I could ever fill his shoes, but he kept up with me for 2 straight days as we traveled. We went to Washington, D.C. We saw all the monuments in one day. I don't know how he showed me everything. And then we got on a sub, actually a train ride, all the way to Philadelphia. We saw the Liberty Bell. Oh man, we walked up and down the town square there. We also saw New York in the same day. We saw the Statue of Liberty in the same day. We went to Ellis Island in the same day. And I'm thinking, Gramps, did we really do that? He goes, yeah, we went one day. And then he said, we stood right there in front of the, in front of one of the tallest buildings in New York at one point in time. And he said, do you want to go up there? I said, no, I'll stay some time and we can stay right here. That's the Empire State Building. That's what it was. I thought it was the World Trade Centers, but we did go to see the World Trade Centers. They were right there too. He was always on the go. Always on the go. Loved to travel. He took me to Mexico one time. I almost didn't come back into the United States because that was a little scary. But They asked me who he was. I said, that's my grandpa. He said, okay. So we got back in the car, drove back. I think on the way back, we stopped at some sugar cane fields. And he said, Mijito, don't do this again, but we're going to go get some sugar cane. So we went and we got some sugar cane. He said, this is how you make it. This is how you cut it. Is it good? Yes, it's good. And then we stopped by a cotton field. And he said, Mijito, I picked cotton at one point in time. I said, man, you've done a lot, Gramps. He goes, yes, I was a butcher. I even saved a lady down on the drag when the shootings were going down on UT campus, and I saved a lady that was shot, and I brought her to cover. There's a lot that this man accomplished. This is a lot that he taught his grandkids, his family. He was a good guy, and I don't know if I can fill those shoes, but I'll sure as heck will try. I love y'all. Thank y'all.
Well, it's gonna be a little hard to follow.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can handle it.
Let me tell you, I'm probably the three boys I'm the most emotional. And, he was a great man. Great man. He taught us a lot. It seemed like everything was about education, about learning something. He says, hey, we're going hunting. I said, Dad, hunting? He says, yep, we're going hunting. You ever been hunting? I said, nope. He goes, we're going hunting. Let's go get us a deer. Go get us some venison. He didn't go and kill anything for the sport. If anything, he was going to eat it and feed it to us. So we're sitting in the blind, and that north wind is blowing right in our face. I said, hey, Pops, I said, are we in the right place here? Because it's cold. We should be on that other side over there. That wind will be back to the back of us. He goes, no. You get over there, those deer are going to smell you. They're going to smell you, and they won't show up. And about that time, here comes a little old 6-point. And he takes his shot. He was so proud of his 222 Remington he had. And takes a shot. It goes down. We go out. And then it wasn't so fun, because from there, it turned into an anatomy class. What is this? What is this? As he's got it hanging from the tree. And he says, whatever you do, don't you ever cut that bag right there. He goes, that'll ruin, it'll stain the meat. Don't do it. And that was the gallbladder. And I still remember that, you know. I must have been probably 10 years old. But he instilled a lot of values in us. And an honest man. I remember we went and we used to bank at that First State and Trust, or the one right there on Congress in Old Torf. And we go in there and he cashes his check, asks for some money back. We get to the house and they had overgiven us about $16. And he said, oh man, she made a mistake. He goes, we got to go back. I said, Dad, just put it in your pocket. He goes, no. No, this is not ours. She made a mistake. Her job could be on, on this mistake here. So we go back. He tells the lady at the window. He says, I really think you made a mistake, ma'am, giving me this change back. And she said, oh no, sir, I don't think so. He goes, no, I really do. You gave me a little bit over $16 too much. She goes, well, we'll have to close out the till this evening and see if we balance out. If we balance out, I'll call you and you can come back and pick up this $16. He goes, oh no, I'm telling you. Sure enough, the next morning they call, and she says, Mr. Uresti, I just want to thank you so much. That over a $16 error, yes, I could probably have lost my job. And I just want to appreciate and tell you that not too many people would do that. But thank you for doing that. And that's the kind of person he was. He always kind of did a little extra for somebody. Unbelievable. Good man. And I know right now he's up there and he's trying to figure out which way the wind's going to blow so he can set up the barbecue pit. he said, whatever you want to do. He goes, you don't want to be downwind. I said, what? He goes, do you want to be that? You want that smoke to be hitting you in the face? I said, no. He goes, well, we got to turn this pit around. Come on, help me. I said, okay. So we turn it around, and he had a knack for cooking. He had an act for cutting meat. And if Safeway or HEB didn't have the cut that he wanted, he would talk. He knew so many people in the meat market business. He would call them and say, "Hey, come here." He goes, "I'm looking for this cut here, but this little half-inch thickness is not going to cut it. I'd like to get this thing about 1.25 inches if I could." He goes, "Sir, I mean, I'm really busy here." He goes, "Hey, I work for you guys. I work at another store." He goes, "Let me go back there and cut my steak," and they would let him. He was something else. He was a perfectionist, tell you that. And the one thing he said, hey, if you're going to do something, you do it right the first time. You do it right the first time, you're going to be spending more time to correct it and do it again. He would say, hey, go give me that crescent wrench. I didn't know what a crescent wrench was. So I'm looking in there and I said, Dad, I don't see anything like that. He goes, what? If I go in over there, find it, you're in trouble. Oh man, I show up with a whole toolbox. He was something else. Something else. Perfectionist. He loved people. He'd open up to you a little bit. He was strict bringing us up, but I think we all turned out okay.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be missed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I was with him.
All right.
I'm Madeline Uresti. I'm married to Uresti. I was actually the first female to come into the family. And after that, we had our daughter Amber. And anyway, the women started infiltrating the men. And Lupe, we saw the soft side to Lupe. And he showed his affection in various ways. He always brought us lots of fruit, would cook for us. He loved cooking for his family. He was always there. He had a good sense of humor, and he was witty. And just, a solid guy. So, yes, he was tough, but there was also a wonderful soft side to him as well. And I'd like to thank you all for coming out. He loved his friends.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all were dear to him.
Mm-hmm.
So, they say, to have friends, you have to be a good friend. And he was like that to so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, last call for speaking. Anybody?
David?
Oh, David.
David.
All right, come on up here.
My name is David Offit. I live over close to Houston. And I really haven't stayed close with Lupe over the years. But back in the early 60s, we were both at UT together. He was my best friend. I discovered what a fantastic person he was back then. Rusty was a little kid, little baby. He cared about his family so much, it was beyond belief. He worked 3 jobs, and he and I were taking comparative anatomy together at the University of Texas simultaneously. Unbelievable how dedicated he was to the goodness and care of his family. he never carried on to go into medicine or anything, but he had that goal, but his family was more important. I love that man. I feel regretful that I didn't spend more time with him in later years. But he's one of the best people I've ever known in my life. That's it.
Thank you.
So for those who don't know me, my name is Robert Falcon. I am beloved to the Uresti family as Rabbit. That's a nickname that I've had since third grade that stuck, and if you've known me for a very long time, you know the nickname. But I'm very fortunate. My father, Sonny, was from Mercedes, Texas, and just a little bit older than Cande. And we're really fortunate that we lived a book that needs to be written called Two Boys from Mercedes, Texas.
Yeah.
Really. Dad and Cande shared a friendship that is like none other. And certainly I have a lot of good memories as I was very welcomed into the Uresti's home as a kid. Omar and I are the same age, and of course we attended school together, and as my father would travel sometimes, and their travels would lead them out of town, the Urestis opened up their home, and I would stay with them and ride the school bus to Fulmore with Omar, and after school come back, and of course Lupe and Minnie made sure that we hit our books, and then I got to go fart around on the golf course a little bit with Omar. And so I got to witness, a lot of things growing up between the interactions between both Cande and my father, and we're losing a tremendous generation. We really are. When you talk about work ethic, I saw the work ethic that Lupe put into Omar, and it's the same work ethic that my father put into us. It's something that maybe it's just a South Texas thing. Maybe it's just the way that they were brought up down in South Texas, and you really had to learn how to fend for yourself, and you had to learn very quickly. And education was extremely important to both of them. And then I got to witness the really soft side of Cande a couple of years ago when my father passed, and I still have Cande's number in my phone, because I know we had a lot of conversations as my father started to decline. And I know Lupe was not doing too good at that point too, and made a special trip up here to visit my father before then. And so I'm a funeral director. I've been a funeral director for 35 years. And of course, that was the other thing, that when I would see Mr. Uresti, he'd always say, not yet. Not yet. But there's an old saying that you know the quality of the person when the undertaker cries. And I had visited with Javier and Rusty and Omar before last Thursday, and so we were prepared. We knew. I'd already sat down with my brother at the funeral home, and we had already made a game plan for when this time came. And at 2:15 in the morning, when the phone rang, I got up right out of bed, and my wife, who had the opportunity to know Lupe as well, she knew. She didn't even have to ask what I was doing. She just knew as soon as I got up and grabbed the keys to the car to leave and head over to the funeral home and right down to South Texas. And so there's a very, very close relationship between the Urestis and Falcons, and it's transcended 3 generations now, and that's amazing. It really is amazing, but it's a testament to Lupe and the quality of the man he was, and just what a privilege it is to have known him. So we're blessed. We're very blessed. Thank y'all for sharing Lupe with us.
Thank you, Rabbit.
Good afternoon. I'm Ismael Cantu from Mercedes, Texas originally.
And I remember Cande like this. But I had the good fortune of also meeting him years and years, 50-something years after, at his business, where my brother always goes. They had, every day was a ritual that all people, my brother and many other people from Mercedes, very respectable people, would gather at this place, and they would socialize. And I would tell my brother, keep doing that. How many people have that opportunity to socialize like that almost on a daily basis? And there's like maybe eight or 10 of them that would get together. So I had the opportunity to know Cande at this age and also at that age. We grew up about there on Colorado Street, about half a block from where Cande lived. And we never knew him as Lupe. I didn't know his name was Lupe until I saw the obituary last night. I thought that was his birthday. Cande. And everybody keeps telling me, well, where did the Cande came out? I thought, I don't know. Maybe Cande. I don't know. But it's Cande. Everybody knew him as Cande. And my story about him is one of admiration as a child. He was about maybe 5 years older than I was, so there were people that we admired, and because we came from a very poor area. I see this beautiful area, and in our dreams we never thought we would be in a setting like this when we were growing up in Mercedes, because that was a true barrio. It was a barrio, and it was very, very poor. And I kind of lost track of Cande as he moved out from the valley. All I knew is that he lived in this home with his mom and his brother and sister, I believe, and that I admired him. And he played football, and one of his closest friends was Henry Garza, and they were very good. Back in those days, Hispanic children that were going to school in that area, many times for the worst reasons, they were not allowed to finish their schooling in the school that they started at. And Cande was one of those victims. I never knew why he moved to Edinburgh High School until he was this age. And I was writing a book, and I'm still writing it, in reference to the experiences that people had to go through. And I was fortunate to have interviewed Cande, and I kept all the notes of that interview. I did not, I wish I had videotaped them, but I didn't. But I did keep the notes, and I told him, Cande, a lot of these things, if this book ever gets published, I get so busy that I still can't finish it out, but it's really on its way. But he told me a little bit about his story. And one of the things that really I had to reflect on was, as a little boy, that his mom had to go to Mexico, to a border city there in Mexico, I think Rio Bravo, one of those, in order to sell tacos to the people that were boarding, when they were traveling by train, and they would go and sell tacos. I don't know, guys, if he ever told you that story, but they went to live up there to sell tacos to make a living. They had to go to Mexico to make a living because there were no opportunities in the valley other than working in the fields or the produce houses and stuff like that. There were very few opportunities there for Hispanics. So he told me that story and how he came back, started his schooling there at Our Lady of Mercy, and then to high school. And he had a dream and a vision. And a person that has dreams and visions is gonna go somewhere. And he had a dream and a vision. And unfortunately, I look at back and say it wasn't important, but it was, of playing football there for the varsity team. And for the reasons that he told me about, he decided to leave that school district and hitchhike to Edinburgh. Edinburgh is about maybe 30 miles from Mercedes. He hitchhiked in the morning and he hitchhiked back. And he was able to graduate, I don't know where in his class, but he did very well. Well enough to get into UT. And I admired him, so he became one of those people that make a real impact on you as you're growing up. And I think one of the reasons that I continued my education was because of Cande and people like him. The gentleman, Mr. Falcon, was saying that a book should be written about two people. Well, there is a book being written about people that experienced life in South Texas, because it was an experience that sometimes we don't wish on anyone. So Cande went on and got his degree, and so I lost track of him. I heard a story that he got caught in a situation in the sniper shooting at the UT campus, and that when he docked and he went under a car, he didn't tell me that story, but a secondary source told me. I didn't finish my interview. I still had more interviews to do of him. But that he dragged several people in under the car and saved their lives. Is that a true story? We don't know. But
Yes.
that story was told to me. That is who Cande was. And I think we will miss him all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to introduce the matriarch of the Uresti family, Miss Minnie Uresti.
Oh my goodness.
You only have 30 minutes, okay?
I met Lupe in 1958, and as he was meat cutter after school, and he cut his finger, and I was working for Dr. Johnston after school, and he came to be sewed. So I helped the doctor sew him up, and from then on, you know, he kept on saying, "When can I get my stitches out? When can I come?" And I said 7 days. And he always made sure Dr. Johnston wasn't there. He knew that if he came when I was there, I was going to remove the stitches. So that's what happened. He came over, and so I said, "Dr. Johnston is not here." He says, "Well, just let's do it. Let's do it." So we removed the stitches, and then there was a fiesta going on in Mercedes, and he said, "Do you want to go dancing?" We danced a lot. So I said, "Well, when? Because I might be working." And he said, "Well, we make sure that you're not working." So anyway, so we went dancing, and that was our first date. After that cut on his finger that he had, and I removed his stitches. Then from then on, I had my boyfriend, and I'm sure he had several girlfriends, let me tell you. He was voted, you know, most handsome in junior high, so of course all those girls were, you know, after him. And I came from Progreso, 4 miles away from Mercedes, and I was going to high school in Weslaco. So the girls in Progreso, in Mercedes wouldn't want anyone else from around there, you know, dancing with them, but I did, and I got him. So August the 20th, 1958, we got married. And after that, Rusty came a year and a half later, and actually I had to stay home because he was coming to UT. So he came to the university, and I stayed home with his mother. And then Rusty came a little bit too early, but he was there for Christmas break. So, yes, started having those pains, and it wasn't time for Rusty to be born, but he came while Daddy was over there. Of course, we had to put him in the incubator for several weeks because he weighed only 4 pounds, 4 3/4. So, yeah, so then after that, you know, he came back to UT, and then we decided that I was going to join him over here. So in '61, I joined, you know, we all moved over here. And we moved exactly over to Sonny Falcon. His mother-in-law had apartments next to the church over on 12th or wherever. And Sonny Falcon he knew him from school and gave us a little apartment right there until we got into the Breckenridge apartments. And yeah, we lived there until, we had Javier, and then after that we went ahead and moved to Oakland on West 6, and he was working, he was doing just little odd jobs in the, mid-markets all the time, and had to work. In '62, after Javier was born, he went to the VA, and he was working at the commissary at the VA. Then still going to school and still working part-time in different stores with the mid-market. And after that, David, I used to bake for David and Lupe, so they could do their work, their UT work, and they could stay up whenever they were going to have finals. They would stay up all night studying, and I would be baking for them. So, yeah. So then after that, the boys started growing, and then 10 years later, from Rusty comes Omar. So we wanted a little girl, and of course, you know, we got another little boy. So,
well, he did a good job raising us. None of us wearing a dress.
That's why he went ahead and changed his major and went into computer science and started working for the Veterans Administration as a programmer, and you'll see everything that's written on the little obituary. So then, you know, when you travel and you end up, you know, just things go wrong and all that, and then I really didn't want to go back to the valley. My boys were here, and he wanted to go back to the valley, so he did almost 40, just 5 months before the 40th anniversary, he decided he was going to move. So I stayed behind with my boys. But every holiday, then our great-grandkids started coming. So here he comes. Every time there was a birth, he was here. Every time they had a birthday, he was here. And, you know, in his last trip in July was for Amber's little boy's birthday. He was 6 years old. And we even have a little video where he was with Amber's little boy, that he was 6. So then that was his last trip, you know. And anyway, it was fun. We had a lot of traveling time. Oh, he always wanted to travel. We went to Acapulco, and of course we had to go dancing. And we go to Hawaii, and of course we had to go to a place where we could dance. So yes, it was a wonderful 40 years, and still, you know, he was my best friend. I was on FaceTime with him an hour and a half, and before he passed, 2 days before, he wanted to talk to me, so I was put on FaceTime with him again. And thank God, you know, I had those good memories, you know. And he just said, take care of the boys. I said, we're going to be fine. You turn to God and you're going to be fine too. So that's it.
All right, Minnie.
Amen.
That's really a great testament to hear the friends from way back and family members from way back. I met Omar right after moving to Austin 31 years ago on the driving range. And it's kind of still where we hang out. And I've enjoyed being a little part of your family through golf, and I know many of the people from the golf course are here as well. So thank you all. I think God gives us this gift that we call hope. I think he tells us to consider all things joyous because we're called to a wonderful eternity by his side. And I know what God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. And I just hang on that, and I hope you all have that same kind of faith. I hope these last remarks will be encouraging to you as we leave here, because I know there's food after. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, I'm in. A life well lived is a beautiful thing. And the thing about Lupe was he was excellent. And I didn't get to spend much time with him until last June when Omar was up playing the senior PGA event in Tulsa. And the word excellent doesn't mean perfect. It just means you do things in a particular way. And each of you have had a story about how particular he was in doing things excellent. And he made fajitas at my house on my little George Foreman grill. I mean, he literally turned water into wine with that. And he cleaned my kitchen up better than we ever had. And my wife was like, can we have him back over, every day this week? And I want to share something with you from the Bible, and I love this quote. What do people really get for all their hard work? I've seen the burden God has placed on us all, yet God has made everything beautiful in its own time. He has planted eternity in the human heart, but even so, people cannot see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. So I concluded there is nothing better than to be happy and enjoy ourselves as long as we can. And people should eat and drink and enjoy the fruits of their labor. For these are the gifts from God. And I couldn't find anything better to describe him. I thought it was perfect. In his life, Lupe is done. His race is over. He's down the road in front of us just a little bit. And now he knows all the secrets of the universe. And one day, each of us walk down that road. We follow him down that road. And what a glorious reunion that's going to be. I think this is what heaven looks like. You get there, Uresti, and it's your friends from all over the world and all over time. And it's got to be just like this. So I want to talk about this thing that is personal to me, that I share with Omar and the brothers, I call it the fellowship of the brotherhood. And if you don't like the word brotherhood, if you're politically correct, I'll talk slow. You told me to do one offensive thing, that was it. So I want to say this to the family as one unit. And I want you guys to know that you truly are my brothers and sisters, as you are to many people in this room, or in this, what are we in? This outside arena. We have stood beside each other in good times, in better times, and we have wept and we have bled together. Of course, we've laughed together. I think that's one of the common elements. And I like to let everybody know that this brotherhood, this family, the brotherhood is strong. And I like to share a few comments on that. In this brotherhood, we have defended each other, just like warriors from a sacred tribe. This too is the brotherhood, and it shall always be this way. Urestes, your family is my family. Your kids are my kids. This is the code of the brotherhood. And as you move forward in life, we will defend each other always. Life, we're not meant to do this alone. We're not meant to do this by ourselves. And so we are all honored to stand with you during this and all times forward. This is your tribe. You can count on us, and you can count on me. I'll be here for you. And when these mountains arise, and there will be more, if I'm able, I will climb them with you. This is the brotherhood. This is what we do. And if you all would, just for 1 minute, as we wrap up here, would you all stand up? Not you guys, not the Urestis, but the rest of you just stand up with me. We do this as a remembrance that you don't go forward alone. You go forward with your tribe. And I want to share with you from the book of Ruth. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Your brothers and sisters here are gathered around you to show support. We celebrate you, and this bond that you share with all of these people standing before you will not be broken in a lifetime. You guys may all be seated. I want to end this in a prayer just to close this out. Beef brisket waits for no man. So Lord, we pray a blessing on this congregation. We stand here today in this beautiful sunlight in this beautiful place, and we pray Lupe into eternity. We know he's there with you now. And how wonderful it is that even for him, you knit Lupe together in his mother's womb with a purpose that is now fulfilled. Lord, when we are tired, you give us rest. When we grieve, you give us hope. We pray a blessing on all the families of this congregation today. And Lord, that our lives would glorify you just as Lupe did. We thank you for this life, and we pray for everybody here today that they would find peace and comfort in the coming days. Thank you all for being here, and I think the greatest expression of our friendship and admiration for Lupe Uresti is to go enjoy some food in his honor. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Kat.